Number 10. Rotlop Fan. Rotlop Fan is a very unique lantern and is also good friends with fellow Green Lantern guy Gardner. Hey. Rotlop Fan is a silicone-based alien life form. He has no eyes and is from an area of space known as the Obsidian Deeps, which is pitch black, basically. Can't see anything there. Because Rotlop Fan is blind, and because his alien race have never experienced light or color, he was given an alternative explanation of what the Green Lantern Corps are. In fact, green and lantern aren't even words he would understand, so instead he was offered a place on the F-sharp Bell Corps, and his ring was actually remodeled into a bell for him to wield in the policing of his sector. Rotlop Fan even has his own unique oath to boot. Rotlop Fan's constructs, therefore, are always musical, and while he cannot see, his sense of hearing is extremely powerful, with him being able to hear from 4 sectors away and potentially even beyond that. That's really far. Number 9. Avra. Avra was one of the first Green Lanterns featured in the animated film Green Lantern Emerald Knights. Avra was actually the last of the 4 to be chosen and was not known for being particularly skilled or good at fighting. However, he proved to be the strongest of the first Green Lanterns, as it was Avra who ended up being creative enough to use his ring to create a construct, fighting back against the Dominators and inspiring their fellow Lanterns to also create constructs besides. Avra was also revealed as possessing the ring that would end up being passed down from lantern to lantern until Abin Sur would inherit it, and from there, Hal Jordan. It should be noted, however, that Avra only exists, I believe, in this film and is not part of the comic book continuity. Still, it's pretty neat, and I really like this story. And friends, before we move on to this next spot, if you are loving this Green Lanterns list and you want more Lanterns lists, green or otherwise, be sure to let us know by giving this video a thumbs up. And let us know what your favorite color of lantern is in the comments below. Number 8. Hanu. If we're talking about brute strength in terms of power levels, then one Green Lantern that needs to be highlighted is Hanu. Hanu is an alien who hails from Ovacron 6. On his planet, warriors are taught that to rely on a weapon in battle is a weakness, which means that Hanu tends to prefer and rely on his own strength over his constructs most days. This is a terrifying prospect considering just how strong he is on his own. Due to his alien physiology, Hanu is super strong and super durable, but he is also known for standing out in terms of his strength even among other warrior members of his race. Number 7. Jade. Jade is the daughter of Alan Scott, and when it comes to continuity is kind of a complicated character. I'm going to try to make this as uncomplicated as possible for y'all to understand if you're not as familiar with her. She was initially introduced in the New Earth continuity, making her first appearance in All-Star Squadron issue 25, volume 1 out of the 80s. She was the long-lost daughter of Alan Scott, who later in life connected with her twin brother and figured out the truth of her origins and her connection to the Green Lantern. She has shown both magical powers and plant-based powers due to her heritage and connection to both Alan Scott and Rose Canton, aka Thorn. Later on, Jade would also go on to serve as one of the Earth's Green Lanterns for a while with the actual Corps, but would become displaced in the continuity during the New 52 reset. However, it does look like we may be seeing her return now, as her brother and father are currently searching for her. Yay! Prime Earth Jade, Prime Earth Jade. Number 6. Soranik Natu. Soranik Natu is the daughter of Sinestro and would end up taking over as the leader of his own corps, the Sinestro Corps, after her father becoming a Yellow Lantern. But before that, we knew her as the reluctant member of the Green Lanterns. Soranik initially did not want to become a Green Lantern due to her own father's reputation on their homeworld, where he was both a Green Lantern, but also, unbeknownst to his colleagues on the Corps, a ruthless dictator. She, like many, associated the Corps with oppression for this reason. Soranik, however, was also a surgeon and would accept the Green Lantern ring that came to her in order to save a patient's life, whose condition at the time was steadily worsening while in surgery. And then she basically kind of learned that Green Lanterns maybe aren't that bad. Number 5. Chip. While he may have gotten hit by a car in the main continuity, RIP, in the Injustice continuity, Chip is a badass. Chip is actually a Green Lantern who, while appearing as a chipmunk, is in reality an alien from the planet Mullein. I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong. I don't speak the same language, I'm sure, as Chip's race, but I think it's Mullein. Haven? I always want to say it Haven, but that's definitely not right based on how it's spelled. In the Injustice reality, Chip proved just how mighty even his smaller stature can be when he used it to his advantage to hold Superman. Chip's explanation for this was that big powerhouses like Superman always underestimate the small opponents and don't really know how to guard themselves against tiny enemies and attacks as a result. Chip used his Green Lantern powers and small thinking to stop the synapses from firing in Superman's brain, rendering him completely immobile temporarily. Number 4. Abin Sur. Abin Sur was a capable and very important Lantern when it came to their history, as he is the Green Lantern who would pass on and in so doing be replaced by Hal Jordan, considered one of the greatest Green Lanterns of the modern age. Abin Sur could also be considered a very wise and fearless Green Lantern. He learned of the Blackest Night prophecy involving the downfall of the Corps, and also learned of his own fate, his death, and the one who is destined to inherit his ring. Beyond that, he was an inspirational Lantern and influenced other great Lanterns who would rise to prominence after him. As a teacher and a role model, he was quite powerful, and I think that should definitely count for something. Number 3. Mogo. Mogo is known as the Living Planet, and is a whole planet who is a member of the Green Lantern Corps. Though you might not know about it due to the facts that their membership has not been well recorded, they aren't very social, and they can't really attend meetings on Oa due to their strong gravitational field. While Mogo might be kind of restricted because they are a planet, they are also tasked with selecting all of the new Green Lantern recruits out in the cosmos, which gives them not only great responsibility, but great power as well. Also, if Mogo decided to create constructs and do that more often, they'd probably be like really crazy, cause they a planet. Number 2. Guy Gardner. I hear you, Guy Gardner fans. So many of you shouted out your love for this hero on part 1 of this list, and one fan, Toganium, even highlighted one of his most powerful superpowers, the ability to annoy anyone. I cannot argue with that logic. Guy Gardner is definitely really good at annoying people. Guy Gardner might be one of the most stubborn Green Lanterns out there, but that is also a part of what makes him great. Guy often refuses to back down from fights, even if his opponent appears stronger than him, and refuses to let others influence his actions or his beliefs, which means his will is really strong, particularly when it comes to doing what he believes to be right. He's kind of a loose cannon though, which can end up working in his favor, but also sometimes works against him. Number 1. Dawnbreaker. Dawnbreaker is the alternate dark multiverse version of Bruce Wayne from Earth -32. He comes from a reality where he was chosen as the one to inherit Abin Sur's power ring in place of Hal Jordan. Bruce did not care for the rules and regulations of the Green Lantern Corps, and instead only saw his Green Lantern ring as a tool to be used. His willpower was so strong, he managed to use the ring to avenge his parents' death, overriding and corrupting it and bending it to his will so that he could use it to kill his enemies. In the end, he faced off with the Green Lantern Corps and the Guardians of the Universe and killed all of them. That is how powerful Dawnbreaker is. So yeah. Number 10. Simon Baz. Simon Baz is one of the newer Green Lanterns, though that feels a little bit weird to say now, as he was first introduced in 2012, and we've definitely had quite a few new ones pop up since then. Also, 2012 was almost 10 years ago, wow. Before he was a Green Lantern, he was an engineer turned street racer turned car thief due to the result of the financial crisis. Due to his Muslim origins, being a Lebanese American following the tragedy of 9/11, he had to deal with many people judging him and his family based on his background and how he looked. Because of this, when he was apprehended for attempting to steal a car, he was suspected of being involved in much larger schemes related to national security, and was therefore sent to Guantanamo Bay. Fortunately, it was at that time that he was chosen by his ring to become a Green Lantern. Even while dealing with a ring that was programmed by Sinestro and not really knowing what he was doing because he was super new at the time, he still managed to create constructs when he first came up against the Justice League following a misunderstanding. I think it's pretty impressive that he was even able to make constructs, because I feel like that would be a lot. Number 9. Jessica Cruz. I mean, Jessica has to be one of the most powerful Green Lanterns at this point, especially given, well, everything that she's been through. Jessica started off inheriting the power ring of Earth 3, which was in itself a story. It actually took control of her itself forcing her to become its host against her own will. In the end, Batman helped her to regain control of herself by sharing with her his experience of finding strength in great moments of tragedy, where he himself had felt like a victim. Jessica would then train with Hal Jordan to gain a better sense of how to use her ring, but only briefly, as Hal was kinda soon after called to space. That was when Simon and Jessica were left alone together with a battery between them to share as they attempted to figure out how to best be superheroes and lanterns together. Hal basically forced them to become partners, and he was like, you two need to figure this out. Jessica also struggles with severe anxiety, which is one of the reasons Simon was kind of frustrated to be paired up with her, at least to begin with. And friends, before we move on to this next spot, if you are loving this list and you love space cops, Green Lanterns as much as I do, please be sure to let us know by giving this video a thumbs up. Also comment below, subscribe, hang out, check out some other videos, you know. Just chill with us for a bit. How are you doing? Put your feet up. Feel good. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. You know, just be cool and hang out with us. We like you. We like you. Stick around. Number 8, Alan Scott. A lot of comic fans may think of Alan Scott as being one of the weakest Green Lanterns because of, well, his weakness to wood, but don't let that fool you. Although his weakness to wood is pretty silly, Alan Scott is still an extremely powerful and unique Green Lantern. He was the first Green Lantern and has since had himself more separated from the general Space Cops Green Lantern Corps in terms of how he operates and how his powers work. I mean, initially when he was introduced with Earth 2, Alan Scott, he wasn't even really connected to the Green Lantern Corps. Because back then, we didn't have to do origin stories and really make everything make sense, but here we are now. Alan Scott's powers actually come from a magical entity that was once the prisoner of the Guardians of the Universe, known as the Starheart. At least if we're going with the New Earth story, which here, we're going with the New Earth story because I like it the best. The Starheart ended up on Earth and saved Alan's life. He wore the entity like a ring, which for many years was the source of his power, and adopted the mantle Green Lantern. Alan has also managed since then to merge with his own battery that he fashioned out of the Starheart. Basically, he fashioned a battery and a ring out of it. In merging with his battery, though, he became even more powerful as he became the power source for his own ring. Which is pretty cool. You gotta respect Alan Scott. That's what I think. Number 7, Kilowog. Kilowog is the main recruiter for the Green Lanterns and is also their head trainer. He pretty much trains all of the new recruits, and with good reason, as he's a very powerful and capable Green Lantern. Kilowog is so powerful that back in the New Earth continuity, when his homeworld, Bolivox Vic, was first destroyed and he was on it, although his ring only instinctively protected him, he actually used his willpower and his ring to capture the billions of life energies of the citizens on his homeworld, storing them within his ring until he could find a new and safe world to release them on. Unfortunately, his homeworld and family would still later be destroyed by Sinestro even after he saved them, but it was still an impressive feat for him to have saved them all the first time around. But it's very sad that they all died anyways. That sucks. Kilowog has a sad story, friends. It's sad. Number 6, Sinestro. Sinestro, before Hal Jordan showed up, was celebrated as the most powerful of all the Green Lanterns. That is, of course, until Hal exposed him as the villain he truly was. Despite the fact that Sinestro is now considered a villain and is the head of his own corps, the Yellow Lantern-based Sinestro Corps, he also deserves respect for just how crazy powerful he is and was as a Green Lantern. There is a reason that fellow Lanterns considered him to be the best. I mean, he even had to go back to being a Green Lantern for a time because he was so skilled and the Guardians needed him. Even though at that point he was already a leader of the Sinestro Corps and he was very happy as such. He was like, I don't really want to go back to being a Green Lantern, and they're like, well, we're the Guardians of the Universe, you have no choice. Also, every time I say Guardians of the Universe, I've been wanting to say Guardians of the Galaxy today. Obviously, I need more Guardians of the Galaxy in my life. I'm not sure what's happening to me. Hopefully I haven't, and I won't say Guardians of the Galaxy in this video, because that would make no sense. Guardians of the Galaxy are not applicable to Green Lanterns. Not at all. No connection. Totally different publishers. Number 5, Jo Mullein. Jo probably has some of the greatest potential of all the Green Lanterns we have ever met. She was given a very special kind of ring, one that doesn't actually need a battery but can self-charge on its own. Of course, its charging is slow going, and Jo isn't a master of it yet, but still, it's very impressive. It's like, we're talking like Alan Scott coolness. In Future State, we got to see a glimpse into Jo's possible future where she is a member of the Justice League and also becomes proclaimed as the greatest detective in the entire universe, which is pretty huge. Jo might not be there yet, but she shows so much promise in terms of what she can accomplish with her willpower, even just from what we've seen in Far Sector, that I think she deserves this spot, especially considering how powerful she'll likely go on to become. I'm just saying now, I'm putting my bets down that Jo's gonna be one of the most powerful Green Lanterns of all time. I'm also so ready to see her and Hal Jordan go toe to toe. That is a fight / team up I cannot wait to read. And if you missed that clash of things, that was from Future State Green Lantern issue number 2. It's the last story in there, and woo! Love that story. Number 4, Sodom Yat. Sodom Yat is a Daxamite, an alien race who is similar in terms of abilities, powers, and physiology to Superman's race, the Kryptonians. So basically, Sodom Yat is like if Superman were a Green Lantern in terms of how much natural power he packs. Sodom Yat was also given a rare opportunity to bond with Ion. Ion is the creature within the Green Lantern battery, similar to Parallax with its tie to the Yellow Lanterns, or Sinestro core, obviously, but not inherently evil like Parallax was, as Ion doesn't feed on fear. I believe only 2 characters have ever been known to bond with Ion, and Sodom Yat was one of them. Also, if you're confused about Ion and the whole creatures thing, it's a whole thing. I'm not really going to get into it, but basically each different type of lantern, each color has their own creature. It's a whole thing. Number 3, Kyle Rayner. Kyle Rayner is a favorite for many fans, and we all know him as the Lantern who is able to tap into the powers of the White Lanterns, which is pretty cool. But did you know that his connection to the emotional spectrum actually extends out beyond even just becoming a White Lantern? And did you know that it was Kyle himself who through his own willpower pushed through to explore the ultraviolet range? He actually pursued becoming a White Lantern in order to put a stop to the corrupted Guardians of the Universe, and along the way unlocked the full range of the emotional spectrum, meaning that Kyle isn't just a great Green Lantern, but can also be a great Lantern of any other color besides, because he is so in tune with all of his emotions. Which of course means he isn't maybe the most powerful Green Lantern, but he's definitely the most powerful in general, all around. We get to see him grow all around as a hero in the New 52 New Guardians series, so if you're wanting to check out that journey, check that series out. He also is one of the very few Lanterns to bond with Ion, the Green Lantern battery's creature, and their bond is mutual, meaning that both lend one another strength and power. So yeah, him and Sodom Yat, and I'm pretty sure that's it. Number 2, John Stewart. John Stewart has to be high up on our list just for all the insane constructs he's managed to create. At one point, his ring actually told him that his willpower was greater than it could even process. So we are talking off the charts willpower, which has helped John to stand out by accomplishing some pretty mighty tasks. Something else that I love about John Stewart is just the reasoning behind abandoning his mask. John isn't just strong of will, but he's also strong when it comes to his courage in revealing his true identity to the world. He does not wear a mask because he wants to be seen, and he wants other people of color to know that they too can be a hero like him. And I love that. Number 1, Hal Jordan. There might be some weird stuff going on with Hal right now, but it's pretty much guaranteed that we'll all consider him to be one of the strongest Green Lanterns around for as long as Green Lanterns exist in comics. When it comes to Hal Jordan, the thing that makes him stand out above all others is his willpower, which is, you know, kind of the main thing you need as a Green Lantern. One time after he died, his willpower was so strong, he managed to resurrect himself. You know you were crazy powerful when you can just like will yourself back to life. That is some Jean Grey levels of power. And even though he was possessed by Parallax at the time, it was still Hal who was responsible for destroying the central battery on Oa and for killing the entire core, which is obviously awful. I'm not saying it's a good thing, but still, it's a really insane and kind of impressive feat, I think. That's crazy. Hal just was like, boom, you're all gone. Woo! What are some of your favorite Green Lantern Corps members? Who do you think are some of the most powerful recruits? Are there any old lanterns that you would like to see brought back? Or any ideas for new lanterns you'd like to see introduced? Let us know in the comments below. Also, much love to all of our Guy Gardner fans out there. Hopefully we get to do a part 2 because that is another powerful Green Lantern I'd love to talk about, among others that have been unmentioned here. So yes, Guy Gardner fans, I see you, I hear you. I want to also celebrate Guy Gardner. I didn't have enough spots. It's so hard sometimes when I have only 10 spots and I'm like, oh, there's definitely more than 10 people that deserve to be on this list.
Coming in at number 10, Simon Baz. First appearing in the New 52 FCDB Special Edition number 1, he's a Lebanese American born in Dearborn, Michigan. After seeing the attacks of the World Trade Center on the news when he was only 10 years old, he and his family faced ostracism because they were Muslim. His sister even got bullied and attacked physically, so Simon would have to intervene. And as years went on, he got an engineering degree, and shortly after that, a job at an automotive plant. After the financial crisis, he was let go and had to resort to stealing cars and reselling the parts just to make ends meet. He was also a great street racer and even made some dough that way. Accidentally stealing a truck filled with explosives, Simon ends up getting arrested and they suspected him as a terrorist, sending him over to Guantanamo Bay. Ignoring his pleas of innocence, Simon was nearly tortured. It was then a Green Lantern ring popped into the room to save the day, removing him from the facility. So what makes Simon stand out? I mean, besides his strong origin story, he has emerald sight. Yeah, that's right, Simon Baz can see glimpses of the future. He also used to carry a gun with him even while wielding the Green Lantern ring. Why? Well, because he didn't trust a whole lot of people, and he wanted to back up in case the ring failed him, which it did a couple of times. The ring itself, it's actually 2 rings forged into 1. Come again? So when Hal Jordan and Sinestro were imprisoned in the Black Hand's Black Lantern ring, the 2 rings actually fused together, and the ring chose Frank Leminski first. Frank had purposely gotten a job at Arkham Asylum because he knew the ring picked its host based on willpower and overcoming fear. And it worked out for a bit because it ultimately decided that it made a mistake and found none other than, you heard it, Simon Baz. Number 9, Guy Gardner. Making his first appearance in Green Lantern Volume 2, number 59, Guy Gardner was chosen to be the backup for Hal Jordan. The ring says you gotta have courage and willpower, but is it possible to maintain those characteristics whilst being a bad guy? A bad guy? Got him. Turns out it is very possible. While the events of the Blackest Night unfolded, Green Lanterns were exposed to other rings, and with his temper issues, he was bestowed the Red Lantern ring. He actually had both at one point. Christmas colors, fun, how beautiful. I mean, this guy may be a bit of a meanie, but ultimately with his willpower, he's proven that he can still be a hero after all. Nice. See, this is a character arc I would love to see in theaters. We need more Green Lantern movies like this. I mean, even in his early life, Guy was abused by his father Ronald. And I feel like these character arcs and backstories are important to see, especially when anger and willpower are balanced in his life story. These origins are relatable. Make it happen. Number 8, Chip. This one is too fun not to include. Making his first appearance in Green Lantern Volume 2, issue 149, Chip is, well, look it up, obviously. So basically, the Crapster army invaded Sector 1014, and once they killed that Green Lantern, Dr. Abex took his army and went to his homeworld, Hyven. This little man Chip was sentenced to death to set an example. Don't do it, look at him, please. He was the leader of the Hyvenite resistance, so it made sense to do it, I guess. Chip was then visited by one of the Guardians of the Universe, gave him a Green Lantern ring, and Bob's your uncle. So one thing I love about this dude is that he's a chipmunk, squirrel looking thing. He's so cute, and as you may have noticed, but that doesn't stop him from killing it. Yeah, he just rocked Hal Jordan. I'm a fan of Chip. He even took on the Man of Steel himself in an Injustice Gods Among Us storyline. He attacked Superman by going after his mind. I feel like if you have a movie with this guy, it'll feel similar to how Rocket was portrayed in Guardians of the Galaxy. At first people are like, he's a little fluffy cute thing, and then bam, you get punched in the head like 10 times. Number 7, Slack. Who's next on our list? None other than Chip's best friend. Slack is this cool looking 4-armed alien Green Lantern from Sligia, one of them's right, who is a protector for the Book of Oa. He's quite tall, has pink skin and a beak-like mouth. Making his first debut in Green Lantern Volume 2, issue 149, Soranik is actually second in command right behind the Guardians of the Universe. Nice. He's a veteran with his power ring, so he doesn't really rely on it until he absolutely needs it. He's a pessimist and he's kind of a loner. I mean, aren't we all at some point? Come on. His importance doesn't go unnoticed. Being the protocol officer of the Corps, he plans missions and answers to none other than the Guardians of the Universe. It's kind of cool having your boss the Guardians of the Universe. Nice. And as I said earlier, his best friend is Chip. So once Soranik was too late stopping the execution of Sinestro, so the OA battery ended up being destroyed, making his ring inoperable. So he headed to Haven to reunite with Chip, whose ring was one of the few that still worked. Clutch! So Soranik acted as an advisor to him. What a power duo. I'd love to play Soranik in a movie. I feel like I have the lankiness. I don't know. What do you think? He's taller than me. I mean, he's like 7 feet. I'm not too far off. Maybe. We'll see. Number 6, Chaselon.
Your species have any problem with that?
No, my arms are non-organic. I do, however, get silica mites.
Fascinating.
Perhaps we could consume refreshment together and speak of our adventures.
That's a cool looking thing. Making his first appearance in the Green Lantern Volume 2, number 9, Chaselon is a being that can use 13 senses rather than our normal 5. The Green Lantern of Sector 1416 has a different appearance than usual, as you may have seen. I mean, look at him. So what exactly is this dude's deal? Well, he's from Barrio 3, which is a world where crystal life forms have dominated. So he's a sentient crystalline sphere, and like I said, can use 13 senses. Unreal. This dude's powers are super underrated, okay? He was given a power ring by the Guardians of the Universe due to his extensive willpower. He's also a member of the Alpha Lantern Corps and the Dark Stars, an intergalactic police force. Number 5, Hanu. Making its first appearance in Green Lantern Volume 3, issue 49, and also appearing in the 2011 Green Lantern film, Ayo, Hanu is a beast of brute force. He's originally from the planet Overcron 6. The warriors there think that using a weapon is overrated, it's frowned upon. They say a weapon makes you weak. Okay, super badass. So he relies on his own strength rather than the ring. That's cool. Yeah, I have a ring, but you know, I'd rather just punch you in the head. It's easier. This sure did come in handy when he was freed from a prison from Hal Jordan and Gardner. He tore the place up without even using the ring. And when he does use it, it's insane, okay? So during the Sinestro Corps War, he finally used the ring to punch through Horku. And Horku's the same species as Hanu, so that doesn't shine light on how strong this dude is. I don't know what will. Number 4, Alan Scott. The Golden Age Green Lantern, making his debut in 1940 back in the All-American Comics number 16. He's the first ever Green Lantern, so of course I'm going to include him in this list. He actually forged a Green Lantern from a meteor. This dude was around even before the Green Lantern Corps, so he's not too popular with the current run of things. So he gets his power in a much different way than all of the other Green Lanterns. He actually uses a ring that's magic based instead of being linked to the central battery on OA. I feel like we need to see this origin story on this big screen ASAP. It's too cool to ignore. Number 3, Sodom Yat. Making his first appearance in Tales of the Green Lantern Corps Annual number 2 back in 1986, Sodom Yat is a guy from the Daxamite race who are cousins of the Kryptonians. Pretty sweet. Daxamites have similar powers to Kryptonians, but instead of being vulnerable to kryptonite, they're vulnerable to lead. Just basic lead. So if you're gonna take some notes around Sodom, make sure you hide it or else you might kill him. So this guy's loaded. He's basically a god, but no lead. Kind of like no capes, no lead. He doesn't even really need a ring. He's already so strong from the ion entity has given him an unbelievable strength. He always dreamed of being a space explorer, so once he noticed an alien spaceship crash near Earth, he found Tessog, and after his parents caught wind of the new friend, his parents killed Tessog and brainwashed Sodom to forget the whole thing. After seeing Tessog in a museum, dead, he was reminded of the actions that had taken place, so he reconstructed Tessog's ship and then was bestowed the Green Lantern ring. Nice, you did it, full circle. And he became the ultimate Green Lantern and the last member of the Corps. The prophecy came from none other than, drumroll, number 2, Abin Sur. We all remember arguably the best part of the Green Lantern movie, the beginning. We find Abin Sur after he crash landed on Earth before giving the ring to Hal Jordan. The purple alien is portrayed by none other than Jango Fett himself, Temuera Morrison. But who is this character and why is he so important? Making his debut in Showcase number 22, Abin Sur was a Green Lantern from Sector 2814 and was the Green Lantern right before Hal Jordan as you saw in the movie. So before that, he actually visited Earth a handful of times. He teamed up with an ancestor of Hal Jordan in the American Old West to fight an alien named Traitor. Solid name, very fitting. So why is he flying a spaceship if he has the ring? Well, he was told by the prophecy that his ring would eventually fail him. So he loaded his spaceship up with weapons for when the frightful day comes. And after being attacked by Sinestro and crash landing on Earth, he chose Hal Jordan to bear the ring, as he was closer to his location than Gardner. So close. Hal ended up using the ring to hide the body and his ship underneath a mountain. It's pretty cool. And finally, number 1, Nort. Making his first debut back in 1988 in Justice League International, this cool looking member of the Green Lantern Corps and later on Justice League Antarctica might be my personal favorite. He's a funny little quirky dude. He reminds me of, I don't know, me maybe? Who knows? He's this quirky underdog, literally. Look at him, he's a dog. He instantly reminded me of Peppy Hare from Star Fox, just like this wise looking dude. He's actually disliked by other heroes and is often looked upon as the loser despite how incompetent he may be. Okay, maybe I don't relate to this guy as much as I thought. Or do I? He can't even read a map. So I mean, come on dude, you gotta figure it out. He tries his best though, he's brave and he's super honorable. I feel like a character such as himself would be great to see in live action. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people who would relate. He kinda reminds me of Dustin from Stranger Things, the way he wants to help, and he has his moments where he genuinely kicks some ass. Nort's uncle, Newt, pushed him through the Green Lantern training, so he's more than capable when the opportunity arises to do so. Number 10, Abin Sur. Son of, you guessed it, Abin Sur. He grew up to become the person in charge of the Black Circle crime syndicate, and he decided that was how he would get back at his father for choosing the Green Lantern Corps and abandoning him. But luckily, Kyle Rayner and a second generation guardian of the universe named Lyanna stopped his evil doings. I mean, I don't blame the guy. He grew up with hatred in his bones. I mean, it's not just gonna go away one day. So he ended up hashing it out with Hal Jordan after Hal had returned from Parallax's influence. So Hal thankfully defeated the troubled youth, but Amon was actually given a duplicate of Sinestro's ring from the Guardians. And then, poof, he vanished. So Hal brought back the body of Abin to bury, and after he left, there was a yellow light in the sky, and it's presumed that that yellow light was him coming back to visit his father's grave. How sweet. So during the Sinestro Corps War, the Book of Oa was rewritten. So now Green Lantern Corps officers can actually use deadly force. So in one story, he fled Space Sector 2814 and he wanted no part of that, right? So a group of the Lost Lanterns went to the planet Varva and found out that recently Abin had killed the civilians. So Green Lantern Lyra used her ring and these new rules and got even with him. So he's not a nice guy in more than one issue. And before we move on to number 9, if you guys could go ahead and toss us a like on this video, that would be the best because it goes a long way for us here at the studio. You guys rock. Now back to some more Children of Lanterns. Number 9, Sarko. Savior of the Sinestro Corps, making his first appearance in Hal Jordan in the Green Lantern Corps issue 19. Sarko is the son of Soranik Natu and Kyle Rayner at some point in the future. See, in the time he's born, he's the last advocate of the yellow light of fear, so only Green Lanterns remain. So his big plan was to go back in time and prevent the Sinestro Corps from ever being dissolved. Not a bad plan. You can catch him in action in Hal Jordan in the Green Lantern Corps Volume 1 from issues 19 to 23. You can pound it all out in one day. Super good. Number 8, Orisha Rab. Age is just a number, right? I mean, we can always use willpower to speed things up if need be. And that's exactly what our girl Orisha Rab did. She made her first comic book appearance in Tales of the Green Lantern Corps issue 1 back in 1981, and her father, Fentera Rab, was a Green Lantern before her. So at a young age, she hit the books, right? She wanted to be the best replacement for her father when that time came. And she read up on Hal Jordan and then boom, she of course had a huge crush on him, as we all would reading up about the young chap. But she was really young, like Hal would refer to her as little sister sometimes in the comics. She was 14 years old, so yeah, that was an immediate no-go. But she tried to argue that because of the difference of years and planets, she actually was 28 in comparison, but yeah, he didn't really buy into that. So she changed her outfit up, tried to get his attention, you know, doing the cool poses, trying to wave the hair back and forth, really playing it up, but nothing happened until her will to become older was so strong that the ring made it happen. Yeah, she magically aged, and the next thing you know, they're making out all around town. Comics, am I right? Number 7, Obsidian. Making his first appearance in All-Star Squadron issue number 25 back in 1983, Obsidian, aka Todd James Rice, is the son of Green Lantern Alan Scott and Thorn. He has a twin sister named Jade, who I'll get into in a little bit. We have a lot of twins on this list. His powers are quite unique. They were passed down to him from his father after he battled Ian Karkle and was exposed to the shadow energy. So now Obsidian can possess the power of shadows. So he taps into the dark energy of the Shadowlands and can even merge with his own shadow and make this three-dimensional shadow being. God, Peter Pan would have a field day there. And here's my favorite part of Obsidian. He can link minds with his twin sister Jade. So he can also tap into your biggest fears by using your shadow. And then he gets into your head and then causes you emotional agony. So you don't want to get on his naughty list, that's for sure. Number 6, Jade. Of course, we gotta talk about her as well. The other twin, Jennifer Lynn Hayden, the twin sister of Todd, who is also quite the character with a different yet still very intimidating selection of powers. She made her first debut also in Star Squadron issue 25, and when she first reunited with her brother Todd, they both wanted to be like their father Alan Scott, so they tried to join the Justice Society but were rejected. But don't worry, because they joined other children of other members and made Infinity Inc. She got her powers from her father, right? And they were pretty obvious too that they were handed down. She could glow green, create these energy constructs, but she also inherited the power of plant manipulation from her mother. So she can affect gravity, light, radiation, heat. I mean, when it comes to super siblings, these two do not play around. Like I said, they can communicate through forms of telepathy, so you're outgunned and outplayed. Number 5, Warhawk. First appearing in an episode of Batman Beyond, Warhawk is the future son of John Stewart and, you guessed it, Hawkgirl. He works with the new Batman in the Justice League Unlimited. So Rex Stewart here is a cross between human and Thanagarian. So he has these abilities like flight and super speed, and this super son is not an easy feat, especially seeing those retractable claws in action. Oof. He's said to be quite stern and impulsive as well, so he's quite the character. And he actually didn't trust Batman at first. See, originally, Batman had been added to the group by Superman to help find out the reason Micron was ambushed, okay? There was a traitor amongst the group. That plus the idea that Batman was barely able to prevent an assault on Aquagirl, things were looking kind of fishy. Warhawk was looking his way. So Warhawk decided to operate his armor through remote controls, figuring he was eventually going to be attacked by said traitor. So when he got a call about an incoming warhead, he told Batman to stay back, and then he handled it. And the real traitor happened to be a Starro-controlled Superman all along. See, it's not Batman, he's a nice guy, he's just mysterious and wears capes. Who doesn't? Number 4, Soranik Natu. Making her first appearance in Green Lantern Corps Recharge, issue 1, Soranik Natu was given a willpower ring from the Guardians of the Universe in order to protect Sector 1417. And she's an outstanding neurosurgeon. She actually was bestowed the ring right in the middle of an operation, like right in the middle of a shift, like it was happening right there, and then this thing popped up, which is just great timing. So her mother was Abin Sur from Ungara, and she was the sister of Abin Sur. And her father, Sinestro, well, he used to be the greatest Green Lantern ever until he turned evil. She made her first debut as Sinestro in Green Lantern Corps Annual Volume 3, Issue 1 in 2013 as well. Number 3, Tai Pham. If the ring chose me for my strength, why does everybody act like I need a babysitter? Amen, that's what I'm talking about. The classic I'm too tough for a babysitter act might only fly if you're a Green Lantern, or young Green Lantern. He's actually one of the youngest Green Lanterns ever, only being 13 years old. And he is the grandson of Green Lantern Kim Tran. He's actually one of the only second generation Green Lanterns ever. So after John Stewart and the Guardians both confirmed, he officially became a Green Lantern, and even at his young babysitting age, he's now the proud protector of Coast City. Green Lantern Legacy is actually the first time that the character has been depicted as Asian American, and you can catch that story that premiered earlier this year in March. Or early in 2020 in March. Sorry, I just keep forgetting about 2020. Weird. Number 2, Nora Allen. Making her first debut in Justice League Volume 3, Issue 26, Nora Allen is the daughter of Barry Allen and Jessica Cruz. She's the older sister of the twins Jason and Jenny Allen, so she inherited super speed from her father, while the twins got more of the Lantern side of the powers, you know? Hence her name, Cruz, like Cruz, yeah, you got it. The speedster of the Future League, which actually came as a shock to comic book fans, especially fans of course, Iris West. And when she was just a child, she would run alongside her father. They had a super fast super blast together. But after a superhero war with Sovereign killed many people, her parents included, she had to step up and was joined by Aquaman. So she joined the other children of the League and set out to save the day. All these kids are so inspiring. And finally, number 1, the twins. Jenny and Jason Allen, who I mentioned previously, are the twins of Jessica Cruz and Barry Allen. They wear clothing with the Green Lantern symbol. See, Jenny wears it as like a scarf material that's stitched onto the front, while Jason has the logo painted onto his jacket. So no tights this time around, which we're always okay with. They're a bit different than Barry's other twins, Dawn and Dawn. See, Jason commands the red light of rage and Jenny commands the yellow light of fear, which are the same colors used by their father, the whole red and yellow, so that's fun. So the painted Green Lantern symbol is just to pay homage to their mother, Jessica Cruz, who never actually accessed any other spectrums. So these passed down powers are actually quite a mystery. They also don't need to use a ring to create constructs either. They can just use their hands, like every cool magician. Well, more on that is explained in the Lightfall event, but Jason Allen once went toe-to-toe with an evil version of Aquaman from their future, and he was shown creating hard light constructs of red light, which is rage, and his sister used hard light constructs of yellow light, fear. And the best part of these two is that they can both potentially wield all of the colors of the lights of emotion. Notably, this one time the twins emitted a blue light while they were asleep in Jessica's apartment, which is just wild, and it's why I had to throw them on number 1. We love interesting twins here.